A continuación, con ustedes, perspectiva de Open Banking y Nube, con Nio Gong.
Hi guys, sorry I have to change this to English. Yeah. Okay, my name is Neil. I'm from Huawei, and I think today's session I'm going to share some of the thoughts and understanding of the open banking. Especially, I can also talk about some of the cases in China. And the reason why I choose the case in China is because China is actually the largest fintech markets on this planet, right? And also because of back to 10 years, for example, before, right? Because of those fintech giants like Alipay and Tencent, WeChat, and they are, pushing the entire markets to be open. So that forced the banks have to take actions. So this is the drivers, big drivers actually, are making the bank have to reactions. And I saw this momentum, in fact, in the recent years out of China. For example, I just visited Brazil and back weeks ago, and I met lots of the big banks in Brazil. For example, the Itaú, which is I think the largest bank in Latin America, right? And also Bradesco, the second one. All of them are talking about how to react to compete with the new bank, right? New bank is the largest digital bank in Latin America, right? So this is really gave me a sense about maybe I can share a little bit, our experiences in China and also our thoughts to take a different angle, think about how the bank should be reacting. Because in my the experiences and knowledge standing about these shouldn't be a competition. It should become a partition, right? And collaborations with the fintech. And this presentation will give some of the insight and understanding about how can a bank make that happen, all right? So let's start. So first of all, let's take a big picture, all right? So as you might know, the bank right now are not only a traditional, the financial institution, right? They have to open themselves and to more customer segments, right? Not only about the retail, right? Corporate, governments, even the interbank. So in this theme, right? You can think about how the bank should, plan their strategy and how they're going to change. So one of the lessons learned that we know from the past is that the bank have to rebuild their services, right? Everything's from the customer journey to the products. So everything has to be rebuilt. And one of the, I think, very important things thinking about this rebuild is that you have to rebuild all the services based on the cloud infrastructures. Right? So this is very important, the strategy, because the cloud itself not only just give you a cost reductions, efficiencies, right, and also maybe the securities, but more importantly, the cloud infrastructures can help you to build your services in more flexible way, right, more accessible way, even a more scalable way, right? So this is very important things. And just because this, the model that we call in China, in fact, we seldom call the open banking so far because this is something I can explain a little bit because the open banking, in our view, is the method, is not a purpose. So what's the purpose of the open banking? If you look at the reason from a business perspective, bank as a service actually is the goal. So that means through the open banking technology or open banking, this methodology, eventually the bank need to make their service, their products, more accessible to the customers as a service. So this is in fact, the reason why we seldom call open banking so far. We call this bank as service. All right, so with this model, I just want to highlight that with this model that the bank can not only enhance, right, the service for their own customers, right, but also they can drive lots of innovation, right, with their partners and also the interbanks. So this model is very important, built on the cloud. And talk about this bank as a service architecture, or we call the open banking architectures. And here I can share some thoughts and for you guys. By the way, finish this session. If any questions, you can raise to me, and probably you can leave 5 minutes for the QA, right? So our understanding about the open banking, in fact, we think if we talk about a good architecture of the open banking, it must be built with the 4 capabilities of openness. Okay, so the first one, it is probably it is one, maybe not, right? Depends on how the bank it is. How bank are old. For example, if it is old bank, it is still the co-banking on the mainframe. For example, most of the the Brazil banks, they are running on the mainframe, right? Maybe even for the first step is not not easy to achieve. But anyway, this is something can start quickly, which is can open your own services, your own bank services to your customers, right? To your end customers, your retail customers, whatever, and build a good customer journey over your app, right? To attract your the retail customers. This is the first step, right? Like a payment, right? For example, build a good payment capabilities and for your customers and give them a more good customer experiences to use. And second one is that you open your services to your partners. To your partners means that your partners can leverage the banking services in their applications, in their business platform, and to directly serve their customers through this the API, embedded API, for example, as a product. And third one is not only your partner can embed your services into their platform, but more importantly, the bank can embed it, or partners, the services capabilities into the bank own platform, the bank own apps. I think the idea of this kind of the capability is the super app. You guys probably know about the super app, right? Every single the giants in the different industry want to have a super app. Super app means that you use this one app can enjoy every services, lifestyle, financial services, right, and government welfare services, whatever. So this actually is one of the approach that taken by most of the bank that embedded their ecosystems, partners' capabilities into banks' apps, right? That is the third one. And the fourth actually is the, very difficult one, but also very important for the bank to think is that can, open their fintech capabilities to the markets, which means that they can providing more and more financial, the solutions to the peer banks, interbanks. So with these 4, different capabilities that the bank can be, push, further the transformation, become for example, the leading fintech player in the markets. In fact, this model, we saw a lot of the big bank in China already achieved this kind of, stages. And I also see that most of the, the big bank in a different region, for example, in the Singapore, DBS, right, is doing very similar things. Even the Itaú, the bank in Brazil, the Brazilian banks, they are trying to achieve, these kind of architectures in the future, yeah? And next, I'm going to talk about the cases, right? So this case, SPD Bank, actually this bank, I believe that, this bank seldom heard, by all of you, but in fact, this bank is the I think the 25th among the top 1,000 bank globally. Actually, it's a very large bank in terms of the users and assets. And this bank actually carry on a strategy, and they started the journey of a financial cloud and the platform constructions, and because they want build a very advanced technology platform to become a open and also the ecosystem-driven player, right, in the market. So they started to build a cloud in the very beginning, and they focus on 4 different capabilities, in their strategy, right? One is that the first one is very easy to understand. Is digital banking, right? Digital banking is actually is very easy to start with because you can build everything, right? It's new things, new services, new customer segments, in the different places, right? It shouldn't be, interact, for example, too often with your core banking legacy platform. So this is the first one. And the second one is that panoramic bank. So this term is very weird, right? This is panoramic bank. So what is the panoramic bank? This is actually their term of the open banking. So later on, I'm going to address more about this. Okay, the third one, also very interesting, called the Bank of Things. So maybe for you guys, very difficult to understand what is the Bank of Things. Bank of Things, means that the physical stuff, the physical objects, devices, right, also can build in financial services. Right? This actually is happening in China. One of the typical scenario of this is that the EV car, the electronic, vehicle, EV car. So you can imagine, right? Normally, if you want to charge your EV car, you have to pay either from the app or cash, right? In the charging station, for example. But you can imagine if the EV car embedded with the devices which can automatically pay the bill. How about that, right? So this is exactly happening in China. So that means the EV car itself can pay the bill after charging. Okay, so this is the Bank of Things concept, right? The last one is the ecosystem, which is more focusing on the vertical industry. Means that the bank build the different, the cloud stacks, right, serving the different industry, vertical industries, right, and embedded more and more industry specialized, the financial services. All right. Okay, let's maybe, because today we are more focused on the open banking, right? So I won't talk too much about other, the pillars. I will more focus on, this open banking platform, which is the Panoramic Bank of SPD. So the SPD's strategy of the open banking, they call it Panoramic Bank, divided to 2 different phases. So the first phase is about, they more focusing on transform the bank services from the traditional financial instruments, right? For example, branches, right? Even the channels, right? Into a lifestyle platform. That means they make their services invisible, right? Embedded into, the various industry, platforms. It can be like a Uber, for example, right? In China, we call Didi. And it can be an e-commerce platform. Everything's, right? Every places. So this is the goal of the first phase. And with this, the phase, the bank are able to, transform the bank, as a very silo service-based organization into, more, the accessible and connected, service base to their customer as well as their, the eco partners, right? And after that, they have the second phase, which is more focused on building a industry cloud, where, the bank are able to build a lot of SaaS services. The SaaS services, this is not the software, it's bank services as a SaaS, right? This is, something they are more focusing because they believe that, if you want to take on the corporate, customers, usually you have to rely on the RM, right, to connect with the different, the customers in the different sectors. But how about if you can build a SaaS, the platform where the different sectors, different industry sectors, customer can, they can leveraging the most, very common financial services, for this particular, the sector customers. For example, the educations. How about you can build a SaaS services for the tuition, the fee collections? This is a very unique, the values that the bank can create, compete with fintech. So that's why they started this so-called the Eco Cloud, the platform to achieve this. All right, so let's take a look at the concept of this, the paradigmic bank, right? I think this is something, is quite different probably from the usual conventional bank thinking. So the entire, the concept of this architecture, in fact, want to be taking on all the customer segments and providing the services all the time, right? And also can build in all these services into one platform and then make, the platform more intelligent to attract, the customer partners. For example, build your services and into a API base and build into this one platform. And secondly, you can run as a batchless, the banking process, which means that all the services can available for 24 hours, right, by 7 days in a week. Yeah. And third one is that everything can be, can be leveraged from this one platform, serving the internal users and also the external, the customers as an API, as a products. And the last one is the intelligence that this platform also can build in with more machine learning capabilities and build lots of, predictive, analytics, the capabilities, and also sort of, the automations capabilities, based on the AI, this technology. So achieving for this four, the different purpose, and they can build the entire, the paradigmic, banking concept. Yeah. And here is some of the results. We talk about lots, right? These concept and the architecture. What's the results, right? So if you look at the results from the business perspective, right now, this bank already built, 1,200, right, the KPIs, the APIs. But this is actually back to 2020. But right now, I think the number right now is around like 1,500, and also there are over 20,000, the 20,000 partners are using this platform to, embed the banking services for their own platform, right? This number also right now, I think about probably 100,000 already, because lots of the eco partners are joining this platform and leveraging the banking services directly from their business platform. And more importantly, right, this platform have been used very often already. So you can see that they have 16 million transactions per day. That means that there are 16 million the API calls, right, from this platform every single day. So it's been largely been used by different the players in the markets, right? And also have this platform already been extended to over 11 areas, internal, external, right? Internal means that most of the internal departments, like risk control departments, like reporting departments, started to use this platform, right, and to produce their the data, for example, or the reports, right? And the reason why they can use that very often because they build this platform, right, and as a service base. So for the other departments, which might not very familiar with technology, but also can easily to use these APIs products, right, with the low-code, no-code in the platform to embed it into their workflow system, for example, right? And also for the external, and like I mentioned earlier, for the industry, the cloud, the different industry cloud, and these also can provide it to different industry segments, right? Like realistic or education. This is very often, to use the financial capabilities in their business, right? And there's also some numbers. I won't go through them one by one. Just you see that they have 43 million users, but right now until now they probably right now has a 60 million. So this is why this bank is very big, yeah. And talk about that's the parametric bank concept, and also what is the Echo Cloud, right? This is industry Echo Cloud. What's the concept of this? So also I can take a moment to explain. So the Echo Cloud, this term in China right now have been realized into a real business because the bank, they are invest a lot, right, into the technology sectors. So how can a bank can make a profit from this the infrastructures? Actually, this is most of the questions in the CIO's minds, right? Because you invest so many, right? And from the business perspective, they challenge you. So what is the return? So how can this technology become some profit for the bank? And this actually give us give us an idea, right? How can make it happen? So SPD, they are building this Echo Cloud. They are went through the 3 phases. So the first phase is that they're building this cloud foundation and providing the internal the user services, fulfill the internal the user's requirements, and mainly focus on the efficiency and reduce the errors, and for example avoid more and more the incidents, right? And building a resilient the architectures for their own business. This is the first one, right? But this actually couldn't realize any return, right, from basic, because this is internal use. And the second one is that they build more and more the financial services to their customers and to their partners, right? For example, they can make their payment as a service, which can be easily recorded by their eco partners, right? And also provide more and more the competitive the package for this kind of services, right, to the markets. So that can make some profits, right, from this phase. And the phase 3 actually is more important, which is that they make this platform, right, completely open, which means it's a complete the open the like a gateway, right, for all this the customers and also their partners, and they can pick what they want, right? There are hundreds, there are thousands the API products online, and they can access each of the products based on the pricing. It's just like cloud, right? Just like cloud, but the cloud actually inherited with the most the financial products. Okay, so this is actually the very important phase for the bank to realize their technology investment into a real money. Yeah, so this is actually the different phases, right? We can see that how a bank can make a Echo Cloud, and also make this profit from that. And here's the example. I just gave you a sort of idea about how this works. So for example, there are 2 different types of the services, right? So-called the financial SaaS services to the markets. One is about the core business. For example, core banking, right? Because for some of the fintech companies, they may have not, the core banking platform. And to build this core banking platform is very difficult, right? You need lots of the risk management, right? You need investments. You need to train your people, right? So these, for the traditional bank, actually is very, natural things to do, right? It's for them, this is their basic works. So they can package this core banking as a service and put it on the platform and open to the partners, right? Something like that. This is one of, the pillar of these very conventional services can be, open to to others. And the other thing is more advanced, which is more service, to serve the corporate customers. One of the important the services that most of the industry will need, which is the supply chain, right? I don't know in the Mexico, but in China, supply chain is a serious thing. Supply chain business actually is very big business because if you look at the manufacturing, right, and products, so through the entire manufacturing chain, there's lots of different suppliers, and how you financing, to finance all these partners in an easy way, in a low cost, right, control way, right, is very important. So having these services actually creating a more advantage and competitive, the capabilities, right, compared to the fintech companies, right? Because the fintech, companies, they actually know the technology, but they are not, know this, the banking business very well. So, in this field, that the traditional bank can take this advantage of their own knowledges and their customer segments combined with this open technology and provide this supply chain, as a service, right? And the other one is the cash management, the treasury management, right? This is also, very important, which, can creating a more, the leading, right? You're the leading, position in the fintech markets as well. Also, okay, so this actually, this page just gives you a sense about how to, monetize this entire technology investment. So for the SPD, their strategy is very clear. So they invest a lot on the technology side, right? And for example, rebuild all these services, right, from the traditional the mainframe architectures into the micro focus these architectures and building so many products, and they spend a lot. And gradually, they can open those services into the different, the segments, right? They can be digital banking, can be, the paramedic bank that we talked about, and also the bank of things, right? All these, the services can be built into one platform, providing to those, different segments, and then make their services be more and more accessible to, their partners and customers. One of the example is that these SaaS, right, that I mentioned earlier in the last page, right? These SaaS can, can make a profit just because those are very standard services, and any one of, in the markets, if they would need these services, they can subscribe, for example. It's just like, the conventional SaaS services. So this subscription fee can make some of the profits for the bank, right? And gradually, this also can become a income stream, right, for the platform. That means with this, the revenues, the platform itself can generating the profit, can generating, their revenues. And also, with this revenue coming in, you can imagine that, that means their technology, the technology department is no longer a expenditure, right, driven department. They also can make the money, right, and by leveraging their technology investment. So they can also make a good, the positive cycle, right, of this business. That means that they can generate the revenue from this platform by leveraging different SaaS services offered to the customers, and make this money continue to invest into the different, the advanced leading the technology field, for example. So this create very good, the positive, the investment cycle for the bank. That's why, you can see that most of the leading the bank, not only in China, even in the States, right? Their IT department eventually, become an independent subsidiary of the bank because they have technology, they have services, they can make the money by themselves. Yeah. So this is also one way that you can think about, in these markets. Yeah. And the last one, I can take a little bit, maybe 5 minutes. Also can go through that, which is the ICBC. And ICBC is the largest bank on this planet. And in terms of the assets, in terms of users, almost everything. Yeah. So ICBC actually they are taking not that kind of a different approach, but it's in a larger scale, right? Because they are big. Yeah. So also, first of all, the ICBC, when they plan this, the transformations, and particular for these banking service, and they realize they have to build a cloud. But unlike other, the banks, because they are big, so they can, take maybe, several years, like 3 or 4 years, to only build the infrastructures, right? Only build the infrastructure, doesn't realize any business, because they have the strategic investment on the technology, so they can, take this tolerance, right? But for maybe small bank cannot, right? But anyhow, this is ICBC. So that's why you can see they go through the different stages of their transformation for the cloud infrastructures. In the cloud transformation phase 1.0, and they are building, the container-based infrastructures and quickly can launch, their applications faster, right? And the second 2.0 phase, and they are able to build their infrastructures as a self-service base, which means the developers, they don't need to ask IT guys, right, to allocate any resources for them. They can, apply these services, right, internally by the tickets, right, and through the ticket system. And 3.0 phase, they are started to, build a big data platform. This is actually very important things, and also I think I missed out in the previous slides that, in this open banking, the architectures, one of the important, also the assets, I mean, a part of the, the real money, right, the revenue. One of the, the important in also the very valuable the assets, which is the data. So you can imagine if you have the platform and open connect with the various, the partners and even your competitors, right? The data will stay with you, right? And then with this data, especially at nowadays, we realize this is so important because AGI is coming, right? Especially AGI for the banking sectors couldn't be so open. It must be very, very private, right? It must be very, very, dedicated for the bank itself. So that means as long as you have more data in your bank, that will creating a very, very advanced, the advantages, for you to compete with others, right? So the data. So in this case, the ICBC, although they done this, 10 years before, but they have this vision and this idea, so they did a very good choices, right? So they built a big data platform in the very beginning, and although there's no such a so many data, but they built the infrastructure first, right? And the phase 4.0 is they are embracing the serverless, which means they are not develop application at all. They are build the services. Yeah. So this is exactly the cloud transformation, and for ICBC. But until this you can see journey, they didn't realize any business, but because they have this transformation for their technology, so they want this investment, right? And talk about their open banking, right? These banking services. They mainly also through the 3 phases, right? First phase is which is like SPD, right? Just try the digital banking, right? And here I also can emphasize one thing that for the innovation, right? And digital banking actually is a good choice. But they need a very dedicated, the investment. But it's a good choice actually, because we talk about the traditional bank, right? The traditional bank, they have problems. And most of the problem actually related to their legacy infrastructures, legacy, the platform. So if you want to innovate, right, and you start with the most difficult ones, that's actually is not a good idea, right? This is not the smart choice. So start the digital banking on the new, platform, such as the cloud, right? And that will be a good choice for you guys to think. And the second one is that, once they have this, the digital banking capabilities, means that they know how to build, the digital services, right? Then started to, try to modernize their conventional banking services and to be open, right? This is the second phase, right? And the third phase, I think, is pretty much as SPD is doing, that they realize they have to build a vertical industry cloud, the infrastructures and also the services, which mean targeting on particular, the different industry segments, and not only serving one customer, but serving the entire customers under these segments, right? So this is, their concept, the ecosystem bank, yeah? And finally, we can look at, this is actually some of the results. You can see that they build this cloud infrastructures and realize some of the SaaS services. And their services is quite different from SPD, because, they have very clear, the purpose of building these services in different, aspects. The first thing that they call a general SaaS. General SaaS means that they can, modernize, modernize their, internal the services serving internal users, such as HR, right? Means any the HR related, the capabilities can be, internally, used by, different system, and this can be, realized in a very easy way to be, for example, embedded into the workflow system, right? And also, they have, the treasury, management. Treasury actually is very important, because lots of, the bank, the business, the product lines need a treasury, the services. If you talk about the old-fashioned way, is that there's a treasury department, right? They're providing a, for example, the positions, funding positions every single day, and also can tell you, how much you can spend, right, and whatever, right? So this can be, become a service that will be easier for the different department to leveraging their internal treasury services and to different business, like FX, right? Also the cash management and everything, right? And this is for the internal, right? We call it general, SaaS. And the second one is the industry. So this actually is just like SPD, they are built, right? But ICBC have done in a more large scale way. Actually, the ICBC so far, they built 9 industry vertical cloud and targeting, the different the industry segments. As I mentioned earlier, that education is one of things, and also the realistic. Every big industry segments which need most financial, the services are their target segments. Yeah, educations, right? You can see that educations, healthcare, e-governments, right? So the bank taking on the most of the, the profit, right? Profitable industry sectors. So that's why they are known. This is very important. So maybe I can explain a little bit about how this works, right? So you can imagine, for the educations, schools, right? So one of the things in a school related to the financial is the tuition fee. So your boys, your sons need to, to pay the bill, right? The tuitions. So this tuition fee collections is very, very, good business. So how come we can come up a very standard process, right? For all the, the schools under these sectors to follow. And this also the customer like it, right? They can reduce a lot of the risks. So this bank, right, ICBC, built this financial cloud of allocations, providing end-to-end, the financial capabilities to get the money in and also, make the money invest, all these everything's, right, on the service. So this is the concept. And the last one actually is the fintech capabilities, which I think also, this actually I think is very interesting because in some of the countries, right, I'm not very familiar here, but at least in like Brazil, like South Africa, also the Middle East, right, when they talk about this, the fintech, especially the bank, they always believe those fintech companies are my competitors. We need to build more, good services to compete with them, to win more customers, for example. But in China actually already passed this phase, because if it is a giant fintech, they're there, they're already there. You cannot, grab too much customer from them. But in the other hand, you should think more about how they can work together, right? How can those fintech and the traditional bank can work together, reach out the real common interests, make win-win situation, right? So actually this fintech capabilities is one of the answers, because usually fintech companies or digital banks, what they are actually lack of, they are lack of risk controls, they lack of the risk management, right? They lack of the regulatory compliance. So those are some of the areas that traditional bank very good at. So they can make those become a service and offer to the fintech, right, companies, make the win-win situation. So this is the concept. This is what the ICBC have done. Okay? So pretty much this is my presentations. I don't know if I have time, if that one can take some questions.